Hello, kia ora, g'day, I'm Philip Duncan from Weather Watch TV on YouTube. Thanks for joining us for our Monday update recorded on July the 22nd. Well, this week is not as stormy as last week was, and that's due to a lot of high pressure parked right here over the central part of Australia, keeping things a little cooler at night time. Some of you have been noticing that, especially up in Queensland, where you're talking about this frosty weather. So cold stuff around Queensland should start to ease, but there is still that slight southerly coming in thanks to that high. But that really cold southerly that was coming from the Southern Ocean, that has now very clearly gone. And you've got a nor'wester here because there are cold fronts brushing the southern coastline. So let's get into the forecast, talking about that cold front. Here it is, all the way from Perth down to close to Tasmania as that system comes on through. Ahead of it, warm nor'westers coming through for most places, westerlies around Sydney, and if you're further to the north, Brisbane northwards, you've got those east to southeast winds. So not quite as cold as it's been, because that will drag in some more cloud and a little bit more moisture as well. A few showers coming in for you. But the real rain over here, where there could be some thunderstorms as well and some heavy falls as you go from that warmer airflow to the colder one. And that colder airflow is colder. It's coming out of the Southern Ocean. Now by Wednesday, here is the cold front. It is moving along slowly because it is trapped by the high that's moving out into the Tasman Sea now. So by Wednesday, no longer over central parts of Australia, it's now out in the Tasman. That encourages the easterlies to carry on across the coastal side of Queensland, turning as a north to northeasterly elsewhere, and then northwesterly the further south you go. Still pretty mild and getting very windy. There could be severe gales around some of the coastal areas of the south, and that will push up temperatures for those of you along the eastern side of Tasmania and eastern inland areas. But the cold front clearly coming through here, places like Esperance and Albany, getting some of that heavy rain, maybe a thunderstorm or two, and then it turns cold and wintry afterwards. But like I say, ahead of it, temperatures are up. So by Thursday, that cold front moves in across to South Australia properly and now coming into Victoria. It's not a major system in the sense of rainfall or snow or any too much in the way of severe weather, but I do think you'll get some wind warnings as a result of this, and potentially getting some snow again back up into the mountains where it should be falling. But yeah, this is a pretty cold, windy change down here to the south. If you're south of that blue line, that's where you'll feel the temperatures dropping the most. And if you're north of it, windy, showery weather coming out of the Indian Ocean for those of you around Perth. All right, getting to the end of the week now, and as that front moves over and across New South Wales, interacts with the mountains and ranges, and that pushes up some of the rain clouds. So you end up with some heavy falls, maybe a few thunderstorms in there as it moves on through, and there'll be snow falling around the ski fields. Great news there. We're not seeing very much over here in New Zealand at the moment as far as natural snow is concerned. And windy westerlies sort of along the southern coastline there. Tassie, you're the most in the mix there, but also the coastal fringes really right across southern Australia being affected by that. And up to the north here, it stays the same. Still got those easterly winds, maybe turning a bit more northeasterly. Temperatures are pretty mild to hot along the very top there. And into Saturday, not a great deal of change, except that the southern kind of blast is getting messier. It's not quite so straightforward now. And so still getting some surges of colder airflow coming through and some rain relief, although you don't need rain relief for the west coast of Tasmania, but some rain relief further to the north here into parts of Victoria. Rainfall this week's not gigantic, but it's still helpful for those that do want it, especially as we get closer to spring. And, we're going to be getting back to the hotter, drier weather in just a month or so from now. So we're getting towards the end of winter. It's sort of hard to say that when you're in the middle of it, but in this part of the world, our winters do end a little earlier than, say, if we lived up in Sweden, for example. And our final map here on Sunday shows high pressure smack bang over the top of Victoria and New South Wales. That encourages mostly settled dry weather, but because of the stormy stuff down here, that will be interacting with that high. A little bit of wet weather, just brushing parts of Victoria, certainly around Tasmania. We've got most of New South Wales dry on Sunday, and then rain or showers pushing in along the east here as that easterly flow carries on. Possibly a couple of thunderstorms there, and the next burst of rain coming in to Perth, Fremantle, other areas there along the southwestern corner of Western Australia. Sorry about the rest of you in Western Australia. I haven't really spoken much about you, or for those of you in the central parts, because there's not a lot going on at the moment. So that's not always a bad thing. That is all from me. I will see you again on Thursday. We'll take a closer look at your rainfall coming up as we see out the end of July. Have a great week.